Yes, good early morning. Good early morning, people. Hello, hello, hello. yes, this is Spirit Journey. How are you doing? Today is Saturday, September 7, 2024, and the time now is 12:35 in the morning. Yes, I had gotten up. I woke up early. I fell asleep in front of the my monitor. Yeah, I'm in my living room. Fell asleep, woke up, and had my monitor on. I was put on some videos, and I said, I want to talk about some things today. Yes, yes, yes. Um, yeah, I have my notes here in front of me. Yeah, I was watching a program. Yeah, how you doing, viewer? Good early morning here from Rwanda. Yes, just saying hello to a viewer. Um, yeah, I want to talk about things. Um, I just like sometimes I watch something, a video, and it just has my mind going. And it's interesting because some of the things that I'm going to talk about, I discussed before. Yeah, let me just turn the camera. Yeah, it's dark in the room, so it's not your monitor, it's dark in the room. I have my monitor on, and so it's putting some light in the room. I want to talk about different subjects, but I think it's all what you call the signs of the time. Um, I think the first thing I'll talk about is the last thing that I heard about. Yeah, so there's more fresh in my mind. But I think it's all about a system. In a nutshell, with all the different things I'm going to talk about. Yes, hello again, viewer. Good morning here from Rwanda. Yeah, the things I'm going to talk about, I think they're all related. And I hope my audio is good. It's all related, I think. The signs of the time. And it's a system. We're in a shift. There is a shifting of one system to another, in a nutshell. And I think one of the things that I will be talking about is who's controlling this new system. Yeah, just switching hands now. Yeah. So the first thing I'm going to talk about that I just saw just a moment ago, in Ireland, and I think this was Northern Ireland. Yeah, they spoke with a British accent. There was some school, and yeah, some school um, for children, and the teacher got arrested. Now he didn't want. Now, see, when you arrest someone, is because they committed a crime. Okay, when you commit a crime, but if someone who doesn't want to promote certain agendas, is that a crime, people? Okay, he didn't want to promote things that could hurt children. These things like hormone blockers, to get an operation to remove your privates and maybe create an artificial private part. Why are they doing this, people? Don't you wonder what's going on? Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I have my dog grooming table behind me. It looks weird, so I'm just trying to block it. Yeah, people, why why now? All these if something's not broken, don't fix it. But what they're doing, it seems, in my opinion, that they they want you to think there's something wrong with you. You wake up, you feel it about yourself, and then the normal course of human development if you're a young person. And I don't know any young person who didn't feel awkward. I know I felt awkward. Your body is changing. And God forbid if you just maybe one day kind of feeling whole hum, going through this transition, and then an authority, a fake authority comes up to you. Oh, what's wrong? Oh, you must not like yourself. Well, we can change that. You just alter your body, mutilate it, chemical blockers. It is so exploitive, in my opinion. To take a normal person who didn't growing up, yeah, I used to get these pains in my legs because of growth, and your tendons and everything. At the end of the day, it's growing, and you do start to feel pain. Yeah, I used to cry all the time. Yeah, I used to cry, and it used to happen at nighttime, the pain. But some things are natural occurrence, and to take what is natural and make you feel like there's something wrong with you. And I would say let's see. Oh, I first heard of the alpha soup. I call them soupies. The soupy soup. I think I first heard of the term regarding the soupies. I think it was 2009. Yeah, I was in college. I was taking this class in college in New York City, and a soupy sitting next to me. She wants to advertise what she is and how she's. Oh God, not let me go there. I want to think about her. A nosy body. She was a nosy body. I got out of that class. Yeah, see, I didn't know these terminologies. When, I was a returning student back to college. I thought, oh, only thing I needed a college degree and I'd be somebody. Yeah, I had left school, go back, left, go back, all this back and forth. Yeah, and then I finally had an opportunity to read. I said, this is my last chance. I thought to myself, yeah, just moving this. Yeah, I thought it was my last chance. So I took college real serious that last time. And yeah, they had the agenda then. It was so new to me. I had this freaky teacher. I think she was from Georgia, and she wants to make everybody think, oh, she's so liberal. And those liberals in New York City are some of they're delusional. They don't love, they promote. They want to promote an agenda. And she was showing these weird video. And I felt it was sexualizing little children. She showed the little pageantry of love, of like, they're like between the age, like 4 years old, some even younger, little girls in beauty it just looks freaky. And I wonder, what the hell is this? And yeah, this is a trend. This was in New York City around yeah. It could have been around 2000 and between 2000, no, it was 2009. It could have been 2009, 2008. And I didn't understand what the hell is going on. I felt uncomfortable. And the textbook, it was like this book that I had to read. And it was, I realized now, okay, what they're showing, okay. Um, oh, what do you call it? When they want, oh, what do you call it? Critical race theory. Yeah. See, there's a name for it now. Critical race theory. And she was put. It was a weird book. And even though I'm a Black woman, doesn't mean that I want to see BS. The book was, I don't even have it anymore. I threw it out. Yeah, when I got out of that class, I think I threw it out. It was just a freaky book. I'm sorry. Sorry, it was a it was freaky. They didn't, the author of the book was someone from, I think, Southeast Asia. And they were this hater. He hated white people. And I never read I never read a book, what's it, sociology? Was it? It was some type of social, man, I wish I could remember. But some type of social thing. And that's what the book was. And it was just very negative. And I've never seen a book like this, but now I know what it's called. This teacher was about promoting these things and to hurt and criticize the establishment. And it was promoting just everything was like the pyramid, a reverted pyramid. It's just everything was reversed. And it was socially very troubling. It just felt weird. And again, yes, there is racism in New York City. It's a very racist, a very biased place. But now it's like anybody could be biased. Anyone could be a hater. Not one group, not one race. It's like everybody seems to be just ragging on everybody else. Um, People are hurting one another. And the atmosphere is like in New York City, it's creating things that don't exist. Like, I mean, or things that are greatly exaggerated, um, pushing. See, they're attacking the youth socially. They're making them confused, angry, depressed, and they want to change the mind of what's normal, a normal development, um, and just promoting this agenda that, oh, you don't like yourself, okay, and let's do X, Y, and Z on your body. Let them, oh, we can fix that. You just take this pill, and we don't even have to tell parents. So now the school is saying that by the actions, we're the new parent. So they're not respecting who is the real parent or legal guardian. They're just taking it in their own hands. What if something happens to that kid? You're hearing all the stories now. The children, hey, I didn't know. I didn't know it's going to look like that. I didn't know. What 7-year-old, 10-year-old, 14, what do they know? It's a takeover. It is a coup on you. You have a government coup. But what about a coup against parents? Or what if you belong to a particular religion? One of the major religions in the world, where they can take your kid without your parents' permission and have them have a major procedure on their body. And you can't change it back. And they've done like there was this study. I know my undergraduate was in psychology. Well, that's what I graduated with. My undergraduate degree is in psychology. I didn't plan that, but that's how it ended up. And I remember we had to read there was a story that came out, um, and there were twins, and I think they were identical twins, and excuse me, they were getting they were being circumcised, but the doctor um so-called accidentally cut a little bit too far on the guy's, private for the circumcision. And they told her, oh, we could just we'll make him think he's a girl. Oh, come on. Oh, come on. I mean, dumb, and that's what they did. They put a little dress on and made the child believe that it was a female. And really, it was a study to see. Yeah. See, I don't like a lot of doctors. I used to look up to doctors. I used to look up to the people in those lab coats. See, that's how they made you believe what they want you to believe, that the white coat was a symbol of goodness and that they were all wise. Well, they're not wise, many of them. A lot of them are cuckoo, and a lot of them are these doctors, uh, and or maybe descendants of those doctors that we inherited after World War II in America. And the doctor, I think, was doing a longitudinal study to watch over the years the development of these children, the twins. One had his private, and the other one was cut off, and just make them think. And well, in the end, the kid committed suicide. The kid, I mean, he was on television. The person grew up, and then they decided, they want to be a man. They want to live their life as a man. They don't want to be a female. I think even married. The person even married. And I remember in the news program, um, they were showing him at a barbecue. He's doing a barbecue and just trying to, and everything's okay now, but it wasn't. And he committed suicide, excuse me, I'm not supposed to say a certain word. And he unlived himself. And so they know what happens to people. It was a very known, very publicized case. And so they know what happened chemically, psychologically to the human who is, they think that what you are, what your sex you are, is socially. There are social constructs like how do you dress and things like that, but there's biological things that are going on, your hormones. And you think differently. Men and women are different. Doesn't mean that one is superior and the other inferior. No, we're different, but we need each other in this 3D world. We need each other, and we work well together. But yeah, people are perverting and trying to cause warfare amongst the sexes. It shouldn't be. We need each other. You're born of a woman. And how did that woman get pregnant? From a male. We need each other. We're both important. So, yeah, this school in Ireland, and I think it's Northern Ireland, um, a teacher gets arrested. And he's saying on camera that what you're doing is wrong. What you're doing to arrest me, I committed no crime. I do not believe that a child should. I don't want to teach that it's okay to get a chemical blocker, hormone blocker for little kids, uh, and other things. Why promote? He didn't want to promote it. So is that a crime? He committed no crime. So rather than just, okay, firing him, but they arrested him. And I thought that was very important to share in this live stream, that you're not allowed to have opinions in the Western world if it goes against the new narrative. Anything that seems to go against the new narrative, they don't want you to, and can even arrest you. Under what grounds? And he was arrested at school property. And they grabbed him and they threw him in the police, the paddy wagon. Isn't that something, people? This just happened. Yeah, I heard about the news, and then I watched the video on the arrest. What's going on? What is going on, people? Why this nonsense? Well, part of the thing is, there's a new dispensation. There's a new leader that they're priming to. They're changing one system to another, but when there's a change, the change doesn't happen overnight. It's gradual. It's a new system, and I'm going to say what it is. It's about um, what was mentioned in another video that I was watching, and it makes sense. You have, like, you notice, like in Europe, when you look at these what do you call it, these special flags, or coat of arms, they call coat of arms. And even if it, like Europe has their coat of arms, but parts of Asia too have their equivalent. And the dragon, a lot of these coat of arms have a picture of a dragon. Like, I know it's like China or something. I think it's China. They have like a red dragon. And in Europe, you had what was a white dragon. They were telling me, this video I was just watching, but it's being replaced, they said, by a red dragon. They mentioned like different kings of Europe, and they were changing from one type of coat of arm to another. And color, it seems like in Europe, they have things that are color coded. And these colors represent something. Okay. And so they can have pictures of the dragon, but they might have, over time, changed the color of the dragon. These dragons I know it sounds weird, doesn't it? Like I used to, in elementary school, we had these little children's books. Sorry. So something's right in front of the camera. I don't know why this pop-up just occurred on the screen. What's going on here? I don't want to learn more. Okay, got rid of it. Yeah, these children's books, and they had things about like these medieval times, and something about a dragon and a sword and all this. What is that? What are these things? So it seemed like growing up, it was so much a part of pop culture in these children's books. And I went to this was a black school in New York City, showing all these things about the dragon and things like that. The picture, it was different, and I didn't quite understand it. I just, oh, okay. Boy, it's getting warm in here now. Okay, oops, my book. I don't want to move that. Yeah, I have my notes here. So, so what does this all mean about this dragon? And and you have some of these uh I don't want to call them, what do I call them? Alternative history, alternative news. And they talked about different systems and dragons. So, I want to try to tie in something. Okay, so um, so I already mentioned about the change with kids and changing the mind and the body of the kids. They don't want children, they don't want the new generation to reproduce. And I think that is the agenda. Confuse them and wipe out that generation. Okay. That is the ultimate plan, I think. So less people is on the planet means less struggle and easier to control the masses. You have less number of people, so it's easier to control. Okay. Um, so this program also that I was watching, and I think it's all tied in. Um, he's a religious fellow, and he notices these different changes in the world, and he was noticing about buildings that are being they're buildings from the past, and in Western Europe in particular, they seem to be a trend uh, of these ancient cathedrals that are being burned. Remember a couple of years ago, what was that 2019 or 18? The Notre Dame in France, this major church. And these old churches, medieval churches, they're humongous. And this YouTuber was mentioning, about all these fires that are in France. These ancient churches are burning up, and he showed like a random what some of these churches, medieval churches, look like. Wow, that's what I said. Humongous, and the architecture is unbelievable. And then he was sharing that, like this one church, they had like many peaks, these giant peaks, and they had like each little peak had like a little baby cross on it. And he was showing about science, that these old cathedrals, these medieval cathedrals, that are made like in the year 500 something, and that they have, it's a science that's built into them, a science that they knew about, that current, I guess, architectures lost. um they lost the science. You notice the buildings now, these churches, or the buildings, they're real boring to look at. Everything, a lot of things made out of glass and straight angles, while these churches from the past, the people, it wasn't as numerous. The people were tinier back then, but yet they got these big, opulent, tall ceilings, and these points, these long points that are on top of these cathedrals. And some years back, it was pre-COVID, I did a video about these buildings. Yeah, see, people are starting to notice now. Yeah, it was pre-COVID, I believe. Um, when I talked about these buildings, these churches, and it dawned on me even back then about these churches. Why do they have those points? The church, what do you call them? I forget what you call them, the points of they're antennas. They gather energy. Whoever who you're praising, that energy is funneled up like a laser beam, energetically speaking. It's going somewhere. Oh, again, and again, these buildings that this other YouTubers talk about, noticing that there's a science attached to these cathedrals and the artistry. They did it with such finesse. But there's this book this YouTuber was talking about, uh, excuse me, some Christian guy, and it's about energy, and that you have some scientists who know about it, like they did experiments with these balloons, and they attached to it these wires, and they were able to harness energy. Then you say, okay, well, if you can harness energy in the atmosphere, so how come people don't get electrocuted? How come that he showed a diagram that when you're standing on the planet, the energy that's in the atmosphere goes around you. It doesn't penetrate in you. And I thought, wow. And I guess this is what Tesla was doing in his science. He was able to harness the energy that's in the ether. And you know what happened to him? He died in poverty. Um, and I think they said there was some questions about his actual death. He didn't look well. Excuse me. He didn't look too well. Yeah, when Tesla wanted to promote free energy, and where you had Con Ed, not excuse me, Thomas Edison, excuse me, Thomas Edison, and other, um, people who wanted to investors in this, anything that you're able to make money off of, put a meter to it. So when you use it, you have to pay, So if it didn't have a meter attached to it so they can charge you, they didn't want that. They wanted to make money. Um, so yeah, so there is a science. And you have some people able to, well, there's these physicists, and they understand that there's, and like they said something like every was a 100 meters, that there's wait a minute, every meter there's 100 volts associated with, and the higher up with each meter there's another 100 volts attached to it. And you have people who learn that somehow they had this wire, copper wire, and it was attached to a battery, and they were able to power some things. So again, this YouTuber is saying, okay, but now the science that's written in these buildings, these churches, these medieval churches that are hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years old, are being destroyed. Why? Well, I think it's all part of, like, as they mentioned, this YouTubers mentioned, well, they're trying to introduce a new dispensation of dragons. The system behind the dragon in this context that I mean, rulership, domain, and they're changing from one domain to another, or another phase in the type of rulership. It's like a book. And a book has, a novel has different chapters. So it's chapter one, chapter two, and each chapter they have a different, topic. But it's the same book. But, a book has a beginning, middle, and an okay. And excuse me, that's what seems to be happening. So maybe each chapter, a different dragon associated with that. I know it sounds very bizarre, but you can use any figure. If you don't like the term dragon, you can just use some other thing that you can relate to. And they're using different colors because in this Western world, things are color coded. And the whole concept about so called races, they're about different, because there's only one race, the human race. It's not like with different species. There's one species of man. There's only one race. But there are varieties. And sometimes look at different people. You can go into India and you have people in India and they look different. They have different complexions, but many of them are very dark. But they have different features too. Some look like Europeans, but are ebony in color. And then some of them, they're blended features. It's really something, the phenotype of the people from India. I looked up, I think it was today, I looked up the how many people live in India, and I think it said 1,300,000,000 something million, 1.3 billion, 1.3 billion with a B, billion people. I thought it was like 1.5 billion. I said, what is 1% of of a 1.5 billion? What percent? And it said 15 million. 15 million. So again, okay, it's actually so if it's 1.3 billion people, 1% of that would be, I guess, 13 million people. Could you imagine? Because see, what I was thinking earlier today, or if it was yesterday, I was thinking this, that there's a trend no, start noticing the different trends, people. When you're watching something and then a new character comes into play, or something, and they stay there. It's not like they're there and then disappear, but then they stay there. Then the public now. Okay, let me get my glasses. My eye. Sorry. You start noticing, people. Start noticing those little things that you see happening in the media, the type of people that you start to see them reappear, different types of people. And again, this video is not about hating any ethnic or racial group or religious group. You are you. Whatever what you are, whatever your religion, race, nationality, color, it's it's not about slam dunking them or discriminating against them. No, not at all. But I'm just sharing patterns when it's a plane. Excuse me. Boys, must be dust in this room. My nose is itching. Yeah, okay. Okay, yeah, had a plane. It's a busy area here. Um, so yeah, I noticed, yeah, so I was asking myself, what is 1% of 1.5 billion? And it said 15 million. Now, let's just say a country like India. And let's say the dragon or the new chapter is being devised, is being established in a domain. And let's just say you take the top 1%, 1%, 1%, that sounds harmless. But if you have almost 1.5 billion people, then some countries' population. Let's say you take the top 1% of a nation like India, and then you move them. Get sit up. Ah, you transport them in a different area. Okay, you got a lot. The top 1% of a population. So the scientists, inventors, whatever, and you locate them to different countries because they're going to, what if they're being utilized for the new chapter for the dragon? And I'm not implying that people from India are dragon people. No, I'm not saying that. But I'm saying that you have different trends that are happening, and they're happening for a reason. And what that is, I could only speculate. But I'm just saying, notice different trends that are happening. So you have, again, I'm trying to put this all together. So you have these opulent places, even in India. All throughout Asia, you have these real ornate places in Southeast Asia. Oh, I forget the name of it. It's in Southeast Asia in the tropics. These ancient buildings, very, very ornate. Why don't they make things like that anymore? How were they able to make these buildings? Because thousands of years ago, how were they able to make these buildings with the technology of the past? They didn't have these cranes that they have now, making these buildings, but somehow they got it made, right? Yeah, there's a science that's missing that they want you to forget. They want to put you in an amnesia. Amnesia. Yeah, this world system had a high science. And in America, you notice they're dumbing you down. United States is a nation, what's it? Industrialized nation, but it's losing its science. And it's using people like India to do the science for you. Yeah, they got 1.3 billion people. And China, okay, China, they have more land mass. They're even bigger. Just imagine, people, you take 1% of the population of China. And in China, they have the dragon. I lived in this place once, and you have a high Asian population. And they have the Chinese New Year. And they have this, in the parade, this red dragon that people inside, the little paper red dragon, and they collect money from the people in the parade. The merchants, they go and they collect money. Isn't that, I don't know, and it's done in fun, but is it really done in fun? I mean, they make it look like fun because it's a parade, but aren't they, when they do that every year in the Chinese New Year, it's either in February or March, let me know. What month is it? It's either February or March, they have the Chinese New Year. And, but let's say every year you do that, and they give the money to the dragon, and it's like, you put it like you're playing, like you have, ooh, like you're being spooked, but it's all fun, right? But what if when the real red dragon comes in to your, what are they going to ask for? And you have to give it. Yeah. And and so you have in pop culture about the red dragon, like in Chinese New Year, in art, coats of arms, they have dragons, they have different color dragons, the black dragon, white dragon, you know. And I think, that these societies, things are color coded, and in particular Western Europe, where uh, this Western civilization, like in America, where they come from, and everything's coded. And I think really about the racism in America, the color codes. White, it was initially white, black, and red, but these are color codes, but they made it seem like a real science behind it, and about making it into people, that they were targeting people and assigning them a color, and we thought it was because of the color of our skin, but that's what they want you to think. Anyone could have any, you know with genetics and everything, and people intermixing, there's a rainbow of colors. So it's a rainbow of gradations of the color code, and you can have a so-called black person, but they can be extremely light. They can have blonde and blue eyes. Yeah, people. So people are being assigned a color, a color code, and this color code represents a mindset, or represents how to treat this person socially. We people are being assigned different things. Okay. So again, the science again, the science with the technology, with these opulent buildings that were made in the past, but somehow today, all that science is being wiped away. And these opulent churches throughout Western Europe and France in particular are being destroyed by fire. They are being destroyed by fire. And I ask myself, why? Why are these churches? You think that people, I mean, it's all made out of stone, right? So how could they burn to a crisp? Why is it happening? Okay. What else I have here? Um, yeah, I think this is also this other thing I'm going to talk about. Yes, good morning, viewer. Good morning. Yes, the other thing I noticed. Okay, yeah, I'm going to tie all these different components. They're all related under this new system change. Um, I was watching a video about okay, men. I wrote here men and men and science versus women and science. Okay, again, it's a duality. This current system utilizes dualities like black and white, or the color system black, white, and red in the Americas. Yeah, it was a tricolor system that was devised. Okay, yeah, black, white, and red, and these color codes, um, I think, really represent, they represent something, and they could represent different planetary controls That's right, you heard me right. Planetary controls. Yeah, I think there's Mars and Saturn. And I get confused with the colors. Like each of those planets represent a color. They represent a color. And I think maybe the humans on this planet may have originated from these planetary systems. Yeah, I'm hearing something that what's that? Oh, what's it? I don't want to get it could have been Saturn that there was two planets. My apology. But it was just something I heard maybe 2 days ago that they were noticing something about the I think they said the pulse of the planet, or some component that that humans resonate more with that planet than planet Earth. And here we're living on planet Earth. And this suggested to the researcher that that people's origins are not from planet Earth, but those other planets, such as they said either Mars or Saturn. I get so confused with two planets. Yeah. So, but again, men, science versus women. Now, I was again watching videos. Start noticing, start asking yourself questions, the thing you're watching. But I was watching this one program today, and it was a room of scientists. You notice a lot of the scientists, and again, I'm not a man hater. It's just I'm noticing different things. I always noticed things when I was growing up, and I didn't understand why there was a division between certain things, such as with gender. But I was watching, and it was a room filled with men. There were scientists, and they I didn't understand why men are scientists. Like they showed like the people from way back. They they had like the scientists back in Western Europe. They study astrology, astronomy, yeah, and astrology. What else? Trying to remember, what was it? Alchemy, physics. And I asked her, and I looked and said, wow, how come only these men are in science? Um, I just didn't understand it. What makes someone interested in a topic? Or like this, I was just watching something with Elon Musk, and he was talk about it was an audience of relatively young men, like they look like from 20s, 30s, 40s. They look relatively young. And it was just on a moment ago. And he was, people were allowed to ask him questions in the audience. But I was amazed, excuse me, I was amazed, but all these pop ups are coming. Yeah, I was amazed that it was almost exclusively men. And I noticed technologies, computers. Yeah. I took a computer class when I was in high school. This was, I think, my freshman year. This was in 76. It was computer programming, and I took a class. You did have men and women, and male and female in the class. But but as we get older, and like you look now, the techies, computer nerds, overwhelmingly male dominated. What's happening with women for us to not get into the sciences? This is a question, and I'm not trying to get off the top, but I think it's all related because it's all about the dragon system, the rulership system, the chapters, different chapters of a book. Think of life as a novel, and each novel has its chapters, but it's one book, has a beginning, middle, and an end. And it's the end that this live stream is really all about. Yes, there are a lot of variabilities, but there is a conclusion and end that's being facilitated, and it's being facilitated by a system of controls. And this system had a lot of science attached to it. Sorry, not all these pop-ups. Yeah, and the science with it. They initiated a science, a high science, and you had, they talk about Merlin the magician in this program, and he was the scientist of his day. He studied physics, astrology, astronomy, etc., alchemy, to change his world, to change his experiences, or to change the experience of others. It's about control and wanting to control the science. So again, I said, okay, men in science versus women in science. Okay, so I mentioned already that you have men in history more into this science. But you notice, and again, I'm not a man hater or whatever. I'm not into all that. But excuse me, but I'm just noticing things. So you don't have a lot of these women in this computer field. Women are just as intelligent. So how come we're not in certain fields? But either way, when you have a man in science, learning the science, alchemy, physics, astronomy, astrology, etc., the occult, but when a woman is interested in science, um, like what they call witchcraft. Okay, one time in American history, with the 13 colonies that formed America, what do you call it? The Salem witch trials. Now, what a witch? And the word derives from pharma something. It means like medicine, plant medicine. Okay, with like the word pharmacology. Pharmacist. It's about chemicals that you get that you extract from plants, from nature. And when a woman, a female, when they are into the arts, such as what they call witchcraft, she is considered evil. But when a man practices pharmacology, he is a male witch is called a wizard, but a wizard has a different connotation than a witch. But a wizard, or the word gee whiz, or things like that, that is short for a wizard and something that's special, that's science, that's considered positive, that's considered an intellect. Total different connotations, and you call somebody a witch. And you can use the term witch as a pejorative against any female that promotes herself as being someone of some type of authority, of some type of knowledge base person, someone educated. She is called a witch. And what did they do in the Salem witch trials? Well, they burned them at the stake. Remember that? They burned them. So how is it that, excuse me, so I'm just trying to put the pieces together. They all may seem unrelated, but they are related to the whole subject on what's going on today. Nationalities, about race, what we call race in America. It also includes about gender, and I mentioned in the very beginning of this stream about the teacher in Ireland who was arrested, even though they did not commit a crime. They just didn't want to promote this agenda in the school curriculum about telling the kids about chemical blockers for your hormones to change your anatomy, you know, to make a boy into a girl and girl into a boy. But again, you can't even tell about, hey, the dangers of it. Well, this teacher didn't want to be a part of that curriculum. And so they went on the school property and they arrested him. He said, I committed no crime. He said, just use your head. Did I what crime did I commit? Do you think it's okay to put kids on these chemicals or to have them get surgery without their parents' permission? You think that's right? And they grabbed him and they put him in the wagon to arrest him. This is recent. This just happened. So again, so it's shaking up everything. It's shaking up everything, the system, they're all related. So the science with the buildings that are not I'm trying to now slowly try to put the pieces together, how they're all related. Okay, so I mentioned about the genders being altered and being arrested for not wanting to comply. Um, the science between men and women. You know, when a man does something, he could study the sciences, but women are discouraged in the past, far past, to even go to school. See, keep you ignorant, keep the female ignorant. But when a little boy grows up, who is the little boy's first teacher? The first teacher of a child's life is its mother or caretaker, which is usually a female, right? They teach them how to tie their little shoes, to comb their hair, brush their teeth, right? Isn't that the foundation of what his life will be? You got to learn the basic. You learn the basics. You learn the foundation. And who is that foundation primarily? A female. But somehow that female didn't translate that knowledge to respect your first teachers. Respect your first teacher. Whoever that teacher is, respect them. You can learn good things and bad things from a teacher, but give respect to a teacher because of they're providing you something. And even if it's a bad teacher, you can learn from a bad teacher. You learn what not to do, right? When it's developing your mind, whether it was a good or bad teacher, life is about many aspects of forming you, forming the final output, both good and bad. But you respect your beginnings and respect those people. Well, don't let anybody hurt you, but still, that first teacher in that male's life was a female. And then in his course of development, they lose that connection with the mother, and they just start to just see that mother of, you're here to serve me, you're here to cook my food, you're here to sew my clothes, etc. Not that, hey, the mother is nurturing you to greatness, and together you build something strong. But it gets distorted, and that person that raised them, that made them a great person, is now under the bus, and any knowledge um, is vilified, and the science of the woman is now considered witchcraft, manipulation. Like I used to work at this retail store, and my uh, manager said, women don't know how to sell. They just do that thing with their body, something like that. He's saying this to me. Yeah. Yeah, he's saying that. Yeah, my nose is itchy just thinking about it. Yeah, I remember that. This was about 24 and a half years ago. And I remember him saying that women don't know how to sell. They just do that woman thing. And I said, wow. I said, I'm just listening to this guy. I said, wow. So again, they think, well, I should say, my boss, my male boss, thought that what he did to sell to the customer was like science, like a skill. But because he didn't have that same skill that she had, that it's not considered a real skill. And he downplayed. So even when we have a natural ability, it is being poo-pooed because it's too easy. It's she's not like, something's built within us, our nature. Some things are built into us, women, that men may not have. But it doesn't mean that it's less important. If it has the power to influence, it is a power. And some women know how to utilize that power better than other women. But either way, a woman's science versus a man's science, they're both important. But I just started thinking, wow, it's science is science, right? And you have scientists who are poo-pooing the science of others. They keep them separate. The men have their system of science, usually in the form of a of a university, a college. You know, at one point there were just males in universities and colleges, but slowly they let women in. But see, if a woman has her own system, the natural system, and no, I'm not like a new age. I mean, I am influenced to some level with what they call new age. I live on this world, and you see things, you hear things. So yes, things can influence you. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. That you're part of a larger system. It affects you. So what does it all mean? Okay. Well, I think that dragon system that I talked about is what's manipulating this whole system, this dragon. And there's a different chapter being devised, different chapters of the book. And each chapter may have a different dispensation slash rulership slash domain slash dragon, and the color of the dragon. Which dragon is in rulership over the next dispensation? Such as look at in the U.S. There is a new there's a presidential election coming up in about 2 more months, in 2 more months, the presidential system in America. And they're in opposition of an older system that used it more logic. Um, it was about the family. But you notice slowly, the family's being taken away. It's never overnight. And each chapter seems of the novel seems to blend into the next chapter. So yeah, the family structure, the it's being taken away. Now the kid's supposed to be smarter than the parent, and then now the kid doesn't even know what his or her gender is, and children's rights for this. The change, they're changing the system, the rulership, and it's been going on for quite a while. Yeah, they removed the science. See, the dragon of the past. There was a a big science. And then you had people who wanted to learn the science called Masons. They wanted the science of what formed the power structure in the early, lives on this planet. Some people call it, what was that some island and it got destroyed. I forget the name of it. But it was they claimed that it was a very high science. And then there was a big flood. And some of the people try to maintain that science. And I think that's where what we call masonry really came out from. This desire, the old system that got destroyed in the flood, and yet pockets of that knowledge still in existence. And then they utilized the science and they were building those churches. See, I'm trying to put all the pieces together. They devised these churches that had science built into it, just like the pyramids, they claim, had a science built into it. The coordinates of the north, south, east, west, and it's in perfect alignment. And again, it's a pyramid, so it's pointing up, just like the steeple. What call it? Steeple. That's the word. I think it's steeple. Like in a church, this steeple had science. The steeple of a church has science built in it, just like the pyramids had a science built into it. And like the pyramids, it's just in a desert right now, has no power right now, but maybe the mason, according to masonry, like, because on the back of the US dollar bill, it's the picture of a pyramid, and then above but it doesn't have a capstone, but on top of the capstone, where the capstone would have been, is an eye of somebody. Could that be the dragon? Could that be one of the dragon system? Yeah, I think so. And so, yes, the pyramids represent a type of science. They're studying this thing. You have so many people studying the pyramids of science. And there are actually pyramids all over the world. And you know what they don't want you to know about? Most of the pyramids are not in Egypt, but in Sudan. The oldest pyramids are in Sudan. But they don't want to play up Sudan. They're playing up Egypt. And I would imagine, I can only speculate, that Egypt is getting, well, Egypt is right next to this country in the Middle East, which is I think, being used as the focal point or the world capital. I believe that this particular country in the Middle East is being revved up as the world capital. And right next to this country is Egypt with its pyramids and the dollar bill, with the same type of pyramid that's in Egypt, but the older pyramids and the bulk of the pyramids are actually in Sudan. It's actually in Sudan, people. Why don't they play up Sudan? They don't want you to go to Sudan. Sudan. I have been in Egypt in the military. But yeah, why is that? They don't want you to know about the even older pyramids because they want you to believe that only certain people see it's a color code. Yes, there's a color code again. Color codes associated with science. The color codes are red, black, and white. Which color code is in dominance right now? Which one is going to be the final chapter in this new dispensation that's been building up now, really building up since 2016? Since 2016, this system, it has been really, really in a frenzy. But I really think under um, the Obama administration, that was a major shift. But they try to play it off as innocent. That wasn't innocent. He was a major influence of what is happening today. And when Hillary didn't get in, um, it thwarted, it slowed down the aim of the chapter that was supposed to be initiated at that time, and they're angry, and they're in a frenzy right now, and they want to get rid of this particular person, number 45, by any means necessary, and they almost succeeded almost 2 months ago. Yeah, it's approaching 2 months. I can't believe it. Why it went so fast. So yeah. So you have a dispensation, you have the science of the past of Lemuria, is it called Lemuria? These old ancient societies on the planet, and there was a flood, but it was a high science, and the science may have actually attributed to its demise that they destroyed themselves, but some of that science was used developing the pyramids, um, used to develop churches. Again, the church and the state work hand in hand, especially in Western Europe. The church and the state were one. They both played their part, and those churches, those ancient churches, were built with science attached to it, and the steeples was a means of gathering energy. And the video that I was just watching today uh, shared that like in physics they were saying, as I mentioned earlier, that every meter you can harness 100 volts of energy. But because like people aren't being zapped by that energy because you're standing on the ground, the video was saying. So because you're grounded, when you're standing on the ground, the energy flow in the atmosphere goes around your body. But scientists had learned to tap onto this ether of energy slash power with the science. And they showed this guy had a copper wire and these things that floated up, in the sky, and he was able to. he attached the copper wire to a battery to charge it and to use the battery as a current to run something else. Okay. But this science is being lost as time goes on. And they want to hide, according to this video I was watching, the science behind these steeples of these medieval churches are being burnt down. Just a couple of years ago, the Notre Dame church in France, the big one, was destroyed. And then they showed a map of all these other churches. Why is that? The video I was watching was suggesting that they're removing the science. They don't want you to tap onto the science behind these medieval churches that has technology built into the steeple. And I mentioned in my past video that I did pre-COVID that churches, the steeple was an antenna to um, receive. I believe that is to receive the energy of the people. Why do they always want you to go to church? They want you to go to church because they want you to, what was that, praise and worship? And the energy that because you think of the church as a battery, as a battery. And again, in the olden days, they had the science behind their buildings. And so the purpose of the church was energy, because people back then didn't have a lot of money, but they had a lot of free time, and you had to stay there, and you had to, I guess, pray, clap, sing, right? And those steeples, they send up energy. You think they really believe in God? They believed in themselves and power. They didn't change the lives of those people. It's to put fear in them, force them into these buildings, and pray. But you notice now, those big mammoth-sized churches, those medieval churches, people don't seem to go in it. You got this big-ass church, but no one's in it. Why? But you have a winky-dink church. See, I guess the science, I'm just speculating, maybe the science behind those medieval churches belong to a different color code. Color code meaning dragon, ruler, kingship, domain. And so if you remove that science, you remove think of it like a radio frequency, a channel. And all those signs, those steeples of those ancient churches, medieval churches in Europe, uh, was to attach to a particular channel / planet, right? You see what I'm getting at? It was the same style. Think of it like a radio. And you're on channel such and such. Well, they're removing that channel so-and-so, and they're putting in a new channel. Look at the buildings now. They must be using a different science now in these buildings. You look at the churches now, and it's just like a block. Well, maybe, okay, they're not using the steeple as much anymore, but you notice the Mormon church, they use steeples. Okay, but either way, I notice now, like the new churches that were being built in where I used to live, it's flat. It's flat. It's very cube. Isn't one of the planets like the black cube? the cube, the shape, not the color. That would really be something. Build a church with like a black cube. But but you see, throughout New York City, there are cubes, and there are black cubes. There's also a red cube, I remember, in New York City, where I'm from. Yeah, there's black cube in the Village. And I remember growing up, early young adult, a red cube as well. Again, these I think represent a domain, a leadership, a dragon system. These terms, I'm just using what the terms that they are using. The people who study these things, current events and symbols and all that. Yeah, different chapter, maybe a different ruler, different sciences. They're removing the old science slash frequency slash radio channel. They don't want them to have them anymore. They're phasing it out and putting in a new channel, but they're ushering it, but they're doing it slowly and in steps. And the steps seems, if you watch where it's going, they want to wipe out current humanity. They confusing the kids, so they're not interested, boys with girls, girls with boys. They want to, keep them separate, um, encourage chemical blockers, so you don't reproduce. Why don't they want you to reproduce? Because there's what was that, 8 billion people on the planet. It's hard to rule that many people, and maybe also when you prevent someone from reproducing, yeah, it's easier it's easier. It's a quicker phase to change from one system to another. And with the COVID also, I know I sound like I'm all over the place, but it's all related, I think. What was that particular pathogen from 2020 all about? Wasn't it to keep people indoors? Weren't they going in the school system, in the school buildings, and put installing things inside the buildings? Weren't they doing that in you? Did you notice that they shut down the schools in New York City in 2020 because of that particular pathogen? Why? The kids were the least likely affected by this pathogen, but the elderly and people who had a immune system, the immune system being compromised, they were the ones that would get these things. And again, it was during the cooler winter months, the cooler season, flu season. They altered the buildings, according to some of the people. They were putting in these computer systems in it, right? What are they really about? What also happened recently? Okay, school just started. School is just starting. But what's happening in the school system? Well, there was a bang bang the other day, a bang bang, and there was another bang bang today in the school. First day of school was a bang bang, and then the fourth day of school in another location, a bang bang. Why is this? Why is it escalating? Well, this is part of the phase, I think, what's happening. The phase is, okay, they want to see they're using children as a ploy that you got to protect the children. Yes, you should protect children. And so they want to confiscate your, what's that, what amendment was that? The first or second, what was that, the Second Amendment? Was it the right to bear arms? We have a beautiful constitution, right? But now they're altering it by saying, oh, well, we have to alter it now. You can't have it. Or you got it, you're a felony now, you're a felon. You created a law so that if they do X, Y, and Z, oh, automatic felon. You're creating laws to make people into criminals. They want to confiscate your ability to protect yourself. So that the new system slash new dragon slash color system of authority for them to usher them in, so they take over. So you do the school, you attack the school system, the students, making them scared. It's, oh, we have to make rules to control, what's happening in schools. Gotta let's ban certain type of weapons. When I was growing up, in elementary school, there were no bang bangs. Or even my high school, there were no bang bangs. I never feared anything. It was not in my reality. But in certain school systems, they probably had, well, especially now, the school that I used to go to, the high school, changed over. I think within 2 years after I graduated from that school, um, a new, yeah, uh, it became like a prison. And I remember I had to get some paperwork, a copy of something, my school records, and I went there in person. And there was a police officer at the entrance and this machine, to see if you got wet. Why would a kid bring in a weapon? Why? Just imagine now. Oh gosh. Yeah, school is too big. The high schools, they usually start on the 11th. Okay, it might be starting Monday or something like that. Oh, wait a minute, wait a second. Yeah, New York usually what's that? It might have already, yeah, it started in some state, but New York City, I know by the 11th, oh, that school begins in New York City. It may have actually already started, but I remember school would start on the 11th. I remember look at my school records. The first day of school was September 11th. Oh, and that's also what's coming up. The 23rd anniversary of that very fateful day in New York City that involved those series of buildings in the financial district. Yeah, I remember that. I remember it like it just seemed like a couple of years ago. It doesn't seem like 23 years, but on the 11th, it would be 23 years. Wow. So, yeah, so you have a system with the schools, and they want to confiscate your ability to protect yourself. So you won't fight back. And then, but using the kids, and then, I mean, how are they getting it? And why are they using it? Are there more bang bangs in the world now than my growing up? Why are they making more if it's more of those type of things? Why are there more? It doesn't seem like a war against, if it's a war against something, you make less of it. Why are kids doing this? See, when you alter, a child is very impressionable, very delicate in their thinking. And when you confuse a child, when you create a an atmosphere of destruction and depression, don't the schools look like prisons to you? Does that look like a place of learning? It looks horrible. They even have in some schools like a I forget what you call it, like a fence over the window. It blocks it. You can't. It's like to keep you in, like a prison, and you cram them in there. It's so unnatural. You know, they're not like I went to a school. My junior high school was awful. There was no learning. Um, it was an integrated school, had different races, nationalities in it, but it was violent. And yes, there were, yeah, there was a demographics in that school. Primary did all the violence. Um, it's awful. Um, yeah, not all the schools were, not all the students were violent, but it was heavily targeted. Oh, what? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm getting slightly off topic, but but I was mentioning with the that particular pathogen in 2020, and the schools were kids had to stay home for several months, no education, but they were doing things. The yeah, people who were doing things into the school, putting in wires and stuff. What were they putting in? Are the kids being triggered? Okay, you have buildings that were, for whatever reason, what do you need to, if you're just closing the school, you're just closing the school because of the pathogen. But it was said that they saw these things being put into the school system, the wires and things like that. What are they doing? Are these, I'm wondering, are these schools, especially in those remote neighborhoods, these pretty like the recent Bang Bang, it looked opulent in comparison to the schools I went to, the campus. It was a beautiful looking campus. Wow, the money that must it happened in Georgia. The money that must have cost that school system. It beats any school in New York. But I'm wondering whether these schools were equipped with things to cause violence in some of the students, or students that had a delicate mindset. I'm wondering, are those schools being activated? Because you know, so-called Middle America, they didn't have any problems, but why is it now? It's already understood in the so-called black neighborhoods where I'm from, in New York City, where a lot of the physical violence was happening. And I'm wondering whether even back then, whether the schools had weaponry done upon them to trigger the students. Violence, violence, violence. If kids are kids, how come only in certain school districts do they act that way? Or neighborhoods too, especially black neighborhoods. Why are they so violent? If we have more rights today, why more violence today? If we have more opportunities, things like that, I think that a science is being done upon these domains, these regions that are triggering people to do acts of violence against one another. And that's also why I got out of New York City. I lived in the middle of everything in Manhattan, and you had a lot of illegals that are being housed in these luxury or semi-luxury hotels. It's giving free busing to these kids. I remember it was last year and the year before, 2022, they had these buses, yellow buses at the um, hotels that are housing these illegals, and the yellow bus to take them, the little kids, to school, being bused somewhere. Why can't they just take the train? Why are they being bused? Where are they being bused to? Weaponized. They are weaponizing these young people. They're weaponizing them. They're funneling all, it's like, where do they get all this money? New York City getting all this money to house, feed, clothes, bus, medical, free medical. But yeah, even though you got a lot of homeless veterans, you had failing school systems, but they're not helping these students that were failing before this large influx of illegals. But this miraculously, all this money is being piped into these people. And again, these favoritism that you see was actually being formed in other chapters of this novel, as I call it, this book, this novel, these different chapters, and one chapter bleeds into another. Yeah, they were bringing in people from long ago. I was in a retail 20 something years ago, and I remember being told about the white truck with illegals, and it's from Jersey, and they bring them into New York City, downtown, and they have them work into these real estate places. And I meant to say retail, not real estate, retail outlets. And they don't need to learn English. They don't need to learn English. They can speak Spanish, and they came to. And I remember the fighting. They were fist fighting people. I remember that I was there. Fist fights. They're aggressive. These are aggressive. Some of these people are highly aggressive, and they're fist fighting, and they're louding, and they have more rights than you Americans, whether you're black or white, especially you're black in America. They're phasing you out. They're pushing you out of your neighborhood. I did the video a couple of days ago, live stream about was it Aurora, Colorado, and you have uh, illegals from this particular country, and somehow got these weapons and are allowed in these complexes. Well, they're going to extort. It looks like they're going to extort money from the people, like gangsters. Hey, I'm the new kid on the block. I take control. You have to pay me money. F you. And the cops, I was told, they were instructed to stand down. Who's behind this? How could you stand down when someone comes in with a weapon and on camera? And the cops did not race to the scene. This is all part of the chapter. They're working fast, they're working overtime. The system, the dragon system, the science, the buildings, the science that built into the building, like the pyramids, like the steeples of ancient churches that are slowly being burnt down, destroyed to remove the signs. You can't tap into that. And again, I suggest that each of those steeples or signs represent probably a different channel. They're like a channel, a radio station. They're changing the channel, different station, different ownership, phasing out one, putting a new dragon slash leader slash domain, the men and women, the signs between men and women, all this gender bending, confusing people, confusing the basic foundation of any society is men and women and their families. They're destroying the family, destroying the minds of the children, so they don't even want this, so they can't even have children when these little children grow up, because now they're confused about what they are, and they're emasculating themselves, defeminizing themselves, so they can never conceive, and they say, oh my God, what did I do? What did I do? And yeah, a police I mentioned again the teacher in Ireland who was just arrested because they didn't want to promote this alphabet soup agenda. They could have just fired her. Hey, you're not going to teach the curriculum. Your instructors teach X, Y, and Z. Well, that's not happening. Just because he doesn't what his belief is. They're arresting you because of your belief, not and they're saying that your belief is illegal now in that country in Ireland, and I believe it's Northern Ireland, arresting you, and you did not commit a crime. Wow, isn't that sad? There's something else. Oh, another way about this new system that I heard about. Um, the current VP in America wants to do what they call price cap on food. Price cap. What does that really mean? It's like a cap, it can only go so far, right? But it's said that when you do things like when someone can control the price of food, they can make that cap really high up or really low, right? We need more food. They want to create scarcity, people. They want to they want to promote scarcity upon your ability to get food. Now I remember flying across America, and there's a lot of land in America, a lot of it. But they have people living on the coast in America. And as you go further inward, it's less people. Most people live by the sea because, there's water, there's fish and all that, you know. Um, Price cap on food. I remember hearing about in Europe that, see, when someone cannot control, you say, hey, I want you to move over there. So what they do food shortages. And it was discovered that through records, there was a genealogist, a historian, uh, and they were studying about what happened in Europe, in particular with Ireland again. um, this place in Ireland, it could have been Northern Ireland. Those who are historians, and you can write down in the comment section what part of Ireland they did this. But they said there was they the system there created a potato famine. That area they eat a lot of potatoes. That's, I guess, a staple potatoes anymore. There was a alleged famine or food shortage, but it turned out that historians were able to get access to documents, and they saw that there was food, but it was being stored, hoarded by the government to create an artificial food shortage, and the people were starving, and uh, which was by design by the system, and the design was create a food shortage and force the people to move. They wanted the people to move. They wanted them to come to the Americas, and so they left. Could you imagine people who are, you know, living in a place and they love their country, and then they're forced into a new system? Isn't that awful? Well, you don't think that the dragon is going to rehash itself, poke up its head, and do what worked in the past? Create a food shortage? This current administration in America, it looks like, it reminds me of, that they're going to try to set up, if they get in power, a price, what is it called, a price cap on food. This price cap, so you can't get, oh, you may need like a coupon to get eggs, bread, milk. Oh, we want everybody equal. It's about equality. No, it's about mass control over the populace. They are implementing a socialist communist system. First, they throw, confuse you the way you think, confusing the little kids. When you don't know who you are, what you are, where you are, then the system could control you. And it got you. And they're using it to their advantage, this system, creating this shortage so they can control you and say, okay, if you want eggs this week, okay, you got to do X, Y, and Z. You got to do this and that. And we give you a coupon, and the coupon, you can only come certain days of the week to get it. See that? We're all equal. See that's what she's trying to do. It's a communist system they put it in. They say, oh, some people weren't born equally. Well, neither is she. That current vice president in America, she was born with pretty much a gold spoon in her mouth socially. Who her mother is. Her mother is an Indian woman, a woman from India, of the Brahma class. That's the top class of people, the rich class. She was an international student, like her father, from Jamaica, also from a privileged group. Don't you can't you you know I can't stand people who are born in privilege and then they're going to talk about the poor. The woman has money. She is not a pauper, and she doesn't live around poor people either. But yet she wants to implement this system of control. And they seem to just be losing when it's not about, see, everybody is entitled to vote for who they want to vote for. I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. You vote for who you feel like, who represents you by what they promoting. What is their platform? But I am finding that with the VP, that it's no platform. And nothing makes sense. You say, "Oh, I'm going to do this when I'm in office as president." But what are you doing now? People, start thinking. Start thinking. What is she doing now? How could she say that she is uh, a member of the Black community, but bringing people to push Black America out of the system, pushing us out of the jobs, living on the streets? I felt I was forced out. I felt I was forced out of America. If I stayed, I think I would have been trapped. Again, back then I had 3 dogs, live in the middle of the city, and if there's a, they would, they were at one time uh, going to have what do you call it, to block shipments in, the large trucks, 18-wheelers that bring in supplies in New York City, food and all types of things. Well, when you run out of food, yeah, let's say in 3 days, you get a shortage. And now with the extra uh, input of these, what they call migrants, you have men, women, and children. You need more supplies. So the supplies would be used up even quicker. What do people do when there's a food shortage? You could, some people get violent and take what you have. It was getting very violent when I was there. The last 2 years I was there, yeah. I got attacked. People tried to jump me in the street. Yeah, I did get assaulted. Yeah. And the cops did nothing. And no, I'm not anti cops. I'm just against when you don't do your job. The cops are being told to stand down in New York City. And so I said, I had to make a decision. I said, it's really getting bad. And I get a little depressed. I start to feel trapped. And so I made my move. And yes, it cost me, as I mentioned many times, it cost me the lives of my two of my dogs. And my third dog is still recuperating, still on medicine for the health. Yeah, it's a cost. Everything's a cost. And so what does all this mean? I'm mentioning different elements. I mentioned about the school teacher that got arrested because they didn't want to teach a particular subject. The price cap on food with the current administration they want to implement. So they control the food shortage and what was created many, many years ago in Ireland. It was an artificial food shortage, creating what they call the potato famine that forced many, many people from Ireland to move to America and other parts of the world. So forced migration through starvation, and I think that's what they're going to try to do, force out the middle class, to force us out of these large cities and go somewhere else. And the poor won't be able to, now with the migrants, they don't have the money, someone brought them there, bust them there, but they don't have money to go back home. Someone else, they would have to be shipped somewhere else. No, they're going to be staying there and causing havoc. And it's to destroy the current system of control there, to change the whole paradigm and create a new system. Yeah, what is call it? Uh, Creating something out of the ashes. Um, it's foolery. That's what it is. Yes, and men against women. I mentioned about the science of men, and then the science of women is associated with witchcraft. But science and science, metaphysics, or whether you use pharmacology, and it alters. You're going to say one science is bad, the other one is good. They're all the same. It's motive. It's motive. And the hoarding of wisdom and knowledge, hoarding that, information, I should say, hoarding information and blocking information from now, pretty much both, because again, the science that's behind those churches that were built many, many years ago, medieval times, the science built into those temples that gather energy, like the pyramids, the ancient pyramids. And what system created those pyramids is a lost civilization. And that lost civilization, a remnant of it survived. And the masonry, the masons, that rule systems today, they survived that flood and they try to maintain its knowledge of the architecture of yesterday and the power and the force used behind it, and then slowly it's being phased away. You see the old buildings, very fancy, very ornate, the steeples, very intricate, a high science that was built into those buildings are now being destroyed to make room, well, to hide that information, to keep you in the dark, and to implement a new system, and to keep you in the dark of the science of the past, again, to control you. They don't want you to know about free energy, and he's steering you away. But it's interesting with, it's a little bit get off the top with Elon Musk. Here he's promoting. What was his real when he came in the public eye? I think relatively heard from maybe 4 years ago for the first time. I used to hear the name Elon Musk, and I didn't know what that was. Then find out about the man's name, and then finding out about the car, the Tesla car. See, one thing I question about him. Now he did mention in an he did a lecture, and he announced that someone tried to take his life, assassinate him about 8 months ago. And what else? Yeah, how did he get so much into mainstream topics today? Because of a car. He manufactures cars. Yeah, but other people who manufacture cars. But why is he up front? Why? And I question him. Yeah, now he's supposed to be on the Trump train, but I question about him because he's promoting electric cars, and the current administration in America wants to enforce the removal of cars that require gasoline and to promote electric cars that are very limited because the you don't go far. And that's the whole point of keeping you in check so you can't leave the city. Those 15-minute cities that they're promoting, 15-minute cities, is what the aim is for. Like in Hawaii, they burnt a city. The city I used to live in. I used to live in Lahaina, in Maui. They obliterated it overnight, and it looks as though, see, they're starving out those people there. They don't have any jobs. The whole that part of Lahaina, that's where the bulk of the money is, because it's a tourist area. So you have the hotels, the stores there. So now, no jobs, no homes. Um, are the people going to get whether some of the people may not have been able to get the home insurance or limited home insurance that won't pay for everything. And so, like creating an artificial lack in this region, the people will then be forced to sell their property for pennies. They're going to leave the island. And I think that was the whole plan of allowing those fires there in Maui, because they want to build up this new dragon ruling system, a new color code, a new domain that they want to replace, to put in place. And they're using these regions like Maui as an example of what they want to install for the rest of the country. And artificial, because see, there's questions about what really caused the fire. And, they're like anything that was color blue didn't catch on fire, which seems to suggest that this what do you call it, microwave device might have been used. That wasn't just a regular fire. Yes, there were some parts where you had dry plants and then the heat, and yes, you have a brush fire, but a lot of it seems to suggest like the trees were on fire, but from the inside, the tree, suggesting that they might have used weapons and targeted regions to create a destruction, force people out of their homes, and those people, just because your house is demolished, doesn't mean you have to stop paying your mortgage or your rent. You're still under a contract. See how evil this system is? They're evil. They can't pay their mortgage. Well, that land will, but they're not paying those people the money. Well, a fraction, I think was that 600, 700 a month. And that's nothing in Hawaii. Things are really, really expensive. Yeah, I pretty much was forced out of there. The money. I was in a financial financial bind, big time, big time. Yeah. So people that they can't pay they can't pay anything. And again, where you going to get your food? And you need transportation. The cars were destroyed. You need transportation, big time in Hawaii, to go to the stores. Like they would probably have to go to central Maui to get their food, like Kahului, Wailuku, to buy groceries, to get water. Yeah, they're forcing those people of that town to have to sell their homes for pennies and move off island. And then they're going to create something new out of the ashes. See that? And that is their religion. Those people who worship about, what was that? Something out of chaos, creating something from the ashes. See, that's their own religion. And they're posing their religion of destruction upon your world, your society, your home, your family, at any cost to build something out of the ashes. Well, if they want to burn down their own home, I'll do so, but not your neighbors, not your country, not the planet. They are doing that, boy. They're doing it to you, implementing that new chapter in that novel. Yeah, they want to create something out of the ashes, ashes of destruction, creating false food shortages, and the current administration wanted to promote a price cap on your food. That is Communism 101. Communism 101. Getting access to food, what days of the week you can go buy certain foods, and how much food. Or remember, they want to promote everybody's equal, not everybody's born with a silver spoon in their mouth. So we have to set it up that no matter what system you were born, what economics you're born under her system, you're all equal, equally impoverished, equally in despair, equally begging for food. And what do people who are hungry do? Well, hungry people, there's a song, a hungry man is an angry man. A hungry man is an angry man. And a hungry woman is an angry woman too. And what will you do when you get angry? Because you have hunger. You're going to be destroying a lot of things. So people, yeah, they're attacking our children as a means of warfare. They're going to attack your ability to gather food, which is a war of weaponry against humanity. They're separating the men and women, causing this gender bending between us and having us fight. You need men and women, but they want us to be this antithesis between each other that wasn't always there to this state. But they're making it seem so real, and it's a new phenomenon. This gender bender thing. It's an evil, and about the science that was built into these buildings, like the ancient church steeples, those intricate ones. Look at them. Look at the artistry and design. High science was used to build these buildings. And it's a high science that's being forgotten by design. And those ancient churches, they are now destroyed by fire because they don't want you to see it or notice it, the science behind it. And a new dispensation that is going to take over this old system to a new one. And that these systems are color coded. And they talk about the dragons in the coats of arms of Europe. And the US is a part of Europe in its who rules this new system, new dispensation, the new channels that are being implemented that might be associated, again, the different color codes, different planetary rules. The red planet, the black planet. I don't know what the white planet is. And they're in a control system, and they're changing the system. And it's happening rapidly now, this transition that they are racing to complete. I am so disappointed about this. And I ask myself now, yeah, what they also mentioned on the program, this system being implemented, this potential food shortage. What do you do? How do you get food? How a lot of things rely on energy. Let's say you have an oven, electric food. I really have to think about this. I'm very concerned. What happens in America will spread throughout the planet, will affect other nations. And even though I moved away from America, I'm still concerned about how I am going to live. How are you going to get your water? A lot of these homes here requires a water pump, an electrical water pump to pump the water into your faucet. How are you going to get your water? How are you going to get your food? What are your plans? A food shortage. I am very concerned. Listen to the program. I was very, very concerned. How do you live off that grid? How do you get your food? How do you get your water? Especially when you have a dry season. Yeah, everything. Everything. There's going to be some major, major shifting, relocating. Yeah, it's creating victims. Well, I speak words of empowerment upon us. The power is ours, and we have favor in the Creator's eyes. The Creator is watching over me and you now and will protect us. Give me the wisdom, knowledge, and truth to withstand and flourish in the new system that is trying to come into play. So that's my message today. I know it took a while, but I hope you understand where I'm coming from. Yeah, start discussing with your families about this change and what you're going to do or what you can do for your situation. Don't wait till it's too late. If you need to get out, please get out now. Please protect yourself. Yes, this is a spirit journey. Early, early morning. Wow. Oh my goodness, it's almost 3 o'clock. Yeah, I have to go somewhere today and get dressed up. Yes. I thank you. I thank you for this opportunity to talk to you. And may my Creator, my higher power, continue to protect and guide me and let me know what I need to know to prepare for this new coming system. Thank you again. Peace, love, joy, and harmony to the listener of this video. And let me know what you think. And you can write your question, your comments below. Be respectful. Let me know. Let me know what's happening in your neck of the woods. Do you see the trend happening in your school system? Did your school system just start and fighting and bang bangs already happening? Old buildings in your community, fancy churches and stuff from the past are being destroyed. The science behind it, are they price capping your food source? Yeah, wake up, people. Wake up. Yeah. Thank you again. Take care.